Thank you, Mayor Joshi, for speaking with PTI. It's wonderful to be here in Edison and speaking with you.
I'm very excited for this. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Can you talk about your political journey? How did you think and what made you sort of take this plunge in politics and your journey to being the mayor of Edison?
Sure. So I have always been involved in government and politics since I was a kid. And when I was 14 years old, I had my very first internship right here in Town Hall. I was an intern under then Mayor Spadoro, and every year since, believe it or not, I had always worked with other mayors. So the more I kept learning about government, the more fascinated I got with every single department. And that's really what has contributed to me wanting to take on so much as well. And that's how we hit the ground running.
Edison is sort of the heart and the hub of a lot of people from the diaspora who've made Edison, New Jersey their home. Can you talk about, how have you seen the growth of the diaspora here in Edison? We see businesses here, we see communities here growing together, but can you talk about during your tenure, how have you seen this diaspora grow?
Well, just by numbers, I was born and raised in Edison my whole life, but when I was growing up in the early 90s, it was just about 10% of the population was Indian American, and now we've crossed the 35% mark. We're actually closing in on 40% projected within the next few years, which is a tremendous increase in a couple decades. We largely attribute that to a couple of things. One being Oak Tree Road. Two, the Metro Park and Edison train stations are a hub for a lot of the population that goes into New York City, Jersey City, and it's near equidistant between Philadelphia and New York as well. So those are the factors, I believe, that have contributed to our growth. And it's been certainly a very interesting journey for myself personally, and I look forward to what the future holds.
Right. So when you talk about this journey, you yourself have grown up in this township. How have you seen the township here sort of evolve and assimilate people from all across the world? I'm asking you all this because I want to get into the elections as well and just the role of the diaspora in that. But talk to us about your journey in Edison.
Well, for me, I have always been involved in government and politics since I was a teenager, and because of that. Everything from seeing the growth of Indian Americans to the growth of our community economically. There were neighborhoods in town that were not doing so well, were either unpopular or did not have the type of growth that they currently do. And the economy local economy sprung as soon as this population came in. And it's something that we are very proud of. And we'll continue to foster it and cultivate it.
You've mentioned Oak Tree Road. We all know that it is really this whole amalgamation of cuisines and culture from South Asia, not just from India, but from South Asia and from other parts of the country, of the world. Talk to us about how do you see this community contributing to the economic growth of Edison and then, of course, New Jersey. How do you see diaspora contributing to the economic growth here?
So our tax base has definitely increased because of the businesses that have come into town. Our real estate values have gone significantly higher than they were. And Edison, fortunately, is in a geographic location where we do not expect our real estate prices to ever drop, even during the heart of the recession. They remain stable. But knowing that the community, the South Asian community has grown so much, it has increased our property value or the market values of our properties.
Talk to us about some of the challenges that the communities here have faced and what have you and your office done to address them. It could be about small businesses, it could be immigration related, but generally what are some of the challenges that the communities here have faced and your response to that?
So the beauty of the mayor's office is we get to take on every single issue and the good and the bad, right? And people turn to us when they don't know who else to turn to. So the good thing is that there are a lot of folks who communicate with us, which goes to show that they trust in our office and our abilities. We've tackled every issue as best as we can. Now, you brought up an interesting one, for example, like immigration, right? That's dealt with on a federal level, but despite that, we work pretty closely with our federal officials, and usually what happens on issues like this is an individual will send a petitioned letter to my office, which we will then copy along with our own letterhead, and we will submit it to congressional members, and they carry it forward. Other issues, we've dealt with crime. We're very, very proud of what we have done in terms of being able to curtail crime. Home invasions and burglaries were a major issue, especially for the Asian American community, not just in Edison, but across the state. And we implemented a surge last year of police officers, supplementing that with technology, over 100 license plate readers. And politically, I screamed at the top of my lungs to see that the state law changes. At the time that I did this, there were few folks that thought that we could even pull it off. But sure enough, the state Senate and the Assembly has passed a change to the law, a dramatic change to the law. So everyone over the age of 15 and up, should they commit burglaries or home invasions, it's a first degree or second degree crime. It's automatic 5 to 10 years in prison. And that's a dramatic shift too. So it goes to show you what, even though we are not directly involved with state lawmaking by jurisdiction or authority, we can certainly lobby, and we did so successfully.
Coming to a bigger picture now on India-US relations, you're one of the lawmakers here who's of Indian descent, whose family has relations in India. But how do you see the India-US bilateral relations, during your tenure, and also how do you see the diaspora here in Edison, in the US, have contributed in strengthening those ties? How would you put the trajectory of India-US relations right now?
Well, both President Biden and Prime Minister Modi have said that the India-US relationship is the most consequential relationship of the century. And I think it speaks volumes itself in terms of all different aspects, primarily economically, but also geographically and security reasons.
Prime Minister Modi was here very recently. He participated in the Quad Summit. He met President Biden. The US is just a few weeks away from the big elections. Going forward, how do you see India-US ties, whoever comes in as the next president, but how do you see that going forward? What are some of the challenges that you think that the two countries have, and some areas of potential of taking the relationship forward?
I think India is in a very unique position because no matter who the leader of the United States is, they're going to have to work with India on international relations. Again, it's an election-related question, but do you have a sense of, or can you share what sense the community here has, the issues that are impacting them this election? Have people talked to you about what they expect are issues that need to be addressed? I focus exclusively on the local issues that impact Edison, and I try to stay away from those international national conflicts.
Okay, sure. From your point of view, like I said, you've been one of the lawmakers here of Indian origin. How do you see Indian lawmakers or people who have Indian background sort of contributing in American politics, if that's a question that you would? Yeah.
So it's interesting you asked this because I was asked a very similar set of questions with Time Magazine. And if you see the influx of particularly Indian Americans and South Asians as they had immigrated from whether it be India, Kenya, the UK, or South Africa, those are the largest areas. The Indian American community primarily came in around the 90s, and they collectively, as a block, got their green cards together, and now you're seeing that first wave also being able to get their voting rights, their citizenship. And that's, I call it the second wave, or a second milestone, right? That you can have. You get your green card, that's one thing. The second step is being able to vote in blocks. And that voting block is now able to participate in our democracy in a whole different level by voting. And you're seeing the waves of folks come out. You're also seeing a lot more South Asians, Asian Americans, Indian Americans in particular, running for office. And I think that that is part of the newest wave of people that have just recently been able to participate in the voting process.
Coming to Edison, which is your sort of focus here, can you talk to us about what is your vision for Edison? I mean, you've grown up here, you're working here with the communities. Where do you see and what do you see Edison contributing, and what do you want to see the strengths here that people take forward, the next generation, the future generations here take forward?
So we definitely are the best community there is. There's really no question about that, and that's because our people make it so wonderful. But it's also because we are so reflective of the rest of the United States. We have every single ethnicity, every religion, background, economic demographic represented here in Edison, and that's something that we're very proud of, because when we learn from each other, we are able to live in a more harmonious community. And that's something that we've been focused on, ensuring that what's happening, whether it be on the international or the national level, in terms of, I'll call it, whether it be vile language or distrust amongst communities, we don't have that here in Edison. In fact, it's the opposite. We are a very friendly community that has begun to really understand one another. And I think that that's something to be really proud of. I believe that when we learn from one another cultures here in Edison, that vibration will be felt in New Jersey and elsewhere across the country. You know, what better place can you have every single group being represented under one umbrella of a municipality, also getting along, and also striving for the same goals for their children, right? A better future. And it's how we tackle those things on a municipal level that will help contribute to, again, the repercussions or the vibrations that you'd be able to see elsewhere.
When we talk about people-to-people ties between India and US, culture, sports, they all play a very important role. And given the fact that you have such a huge South Asian community here, I want to talk about cricket, because the summer saw this huge T20 World Cup in Long Island, and you have so many people here who play cricket on the weekends and all. Is there a plan for Edison to probably take that forward, or have something, infrastructure set up to give this push for a sport that people here play and love?
I'm glad you asked that question, because the answer is yes. We are one of the few municipalities in the state of New Jersey that funds a local cricket team specifically for youth. We have also accommodated with adult leagues as well in terms of our cricket pitches. But in addition to that, we've partnered with Middlesex County and Middlesex County College, or Middlesex College, to kick off the first ever cricket stadium here in Edison. So that's underway. We're looking at that being built in about 2026.
Okay, so that's a very good start, because again, infrastructure, I think people don't have cricket pitches to play. They play on baseball. So that will be a good step to take this sport to the next level for the next generation.
Yep.
Yeah, and hopefully host a cricket match or a T20 match going forward.
Yes.
Yeah. On anything else that you want to focus on the diaspora community here, you know, how do you wish that they could contribute more in the community through businesses, through work? But what are your sort of message for diaspora and also people who are back in India listening to this?
The message would be the same that I give to all communities. It's when you get to a level where a certain community or a household has been very successful, it's also, we have to be very mindful that once you reach a certain point of success, got to remember to give back to the community. And I hope that that goes for every group there is. Just remember to give back to the community. And we didn't get to wherever we were, we being whoever considers themselves to be successful, you didn't get to that point on your own. And it's important to make sure that even despite all the successes, you should always be able to give back to the community. That's what I would like to see.
Right, sure. And giving back to the community would mean in different ways, right?
Yes.
It could be sharing your culture or traditions through business, through employment creation, through job creation. So it could be through any circumstances. And of course, the Office of the Mayor will be there to facilitate that economic growth and that potential.
Yes, that's exactly what our role is here in municipal government. We're here to facilitate, and we do that to the best of our ability.
Thank you. Thank you so much for speaking with PTI. But before I conclude, anything else that you want to highlight on?
No, I just want to say thank you for coming out here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.